Okay, welcome everybody to another sort of tournament recap. I am fresh back from Utrecht, where I played in the Fantasy Spotlight series, which is a sort of new style GP. There were 1,600 players, and I managed to qualify. I managed to get into day two with a 6-3 record and finished 9-6 for about 200th place. So. Not too shabby. A couple of wins off the pace of getting money. I think maybe a win and a draw, or 2 wins and a draw, or 2 wins might have got me some prize money. But yeah, very happy to go in day 2. So this is the list I ended up running. This is almost a carbon copy of pilot Krista Oskopinski's list. Apologies if I've butchered that. The 2 notable exceptions is to Pyroclasm in the sideboard instead of Rough Tumble 2 and 3. This is purely because some of my cards didn't arrive in time and I couldn't find any Rough and Tumbles from the vendors. So should be playing Rough and Tumble in these 2 slots, but I played Pyroclasm instead. Why did I choose this list? I'd seen Krista had a excellent sideboard guide on. You can find it on their Twitter, so do go and have a look at that. I think it's only $5 and it's really good. It's got ins and outs and also some sort of blurb about the deck. I copied the ins and outs onto a bit of paper that I could refer to during the tournament, which I suggest anyone does for whatever deck they play, even if you're coming up with your own sort of sideboard guide. Always good to have it written down. So yeah, left from here on the Thursday. No, on the Friday. So we're traveling on the Friday. Drove to the airport. Got a reasonable flight over to Amsterdam, and then it's a short hop over to Utrecht, where I went and checked into the hotel. Went and had a look around the venue. Saw a lot of other Magic players sort of grinding away in the hotel room. No, that's a bit weird. In the hotel lobby. Met up with some friends, went out for some tea, and yeah, looked forward to going to the venue the next day. Went over the next day. The venue was really nice, really huge. Jabba's in Utrecht. Massive, great sort of venue space there. 2 halls taken over entirely by Magic. There was obviously the main event going on. Then there were loads of side events, drafts, and various other constructed. There were loads of vendors, 6 or 7. So yeah, really good to go. The food there was it was good. It was quite expensive, but you expect that from convention centres. But some nice sort of Belgian style fries, which was really good, and a few other bits. So enough to keep us going. So yeah, went into day 1. As I said, playing this deck. I think this deck is well positioned as well. I think I'll continue my ramblings on why I chose it. So I always like something that does something very, very powerful with like a fair backup plan. This seemed to fit the bill. With you have the opportunity to put hollow ones out as early as turn 1, and then you have the kind of Dauthi Voidwalker Bowmasters, Nethergoyf stuff as a just a fairer beat down plan. In testing it, I've been going really well. I played a lot against Breach in testing for the tournament. So my 3 deck choices were either Eldrazi, Black White, or Hollow One. And Eldrazi just felt awful into Breach. I just couldn't, especially because the day 1 of the tournament was closed deck list. I just couldn't beat it, especially if I was even knowing what I was against. I could mulligan aggressively for Khans and things, but in the blind, you keep a hand, and I just really wasn't feeling that matchup. So Black White and Hollow One were performing a lot better. So I had to go Hollow One, as I said, with Krista's guide being out there, and I felt it was doing something very aggressive. It also, I felt, maybe gave the opportunity for quicker rounds. So these tournaments are long. Black White, especially if you hit the mirror, risk of draws potentially, and it's always good to have a little bit of a break between rounds. And like I said, this is doing something very powerful. The Black White deck is doing something very powerful, but it's, you know, you don't have necessarily the most busted start really you can do is the whole Overlord feeler, which is, don't get me wrong, is very powerful, but it's not, you know, putting 2 hollow ones or whatever into play turn 1. So yeah, went with that. Thought it was well positioned. The win rates as well coming out of Charlotte and things were looking good. So yeah, I went with this. There is a video of us. I think this list pretty much exactly on the channel, maybe the last video. So yeah, you can go back and check that out. So I'll start off with just a little bit about the deck. I think there is more about that in the video before. Just a few tips and tricks really. So firstly, we'll talk about Burning Inquiry. So this deck, it used to be, when Hollow One was first out years and years ago, you just Burning Inquiry whenever you could and try and hit the Hollow One. But now with the Marauding Mako getting the counters, it's often better, even if you could potentially turn 1 Hollow One, it's often better to go Mako and then either Burning Inquiry, Faithless Looting, Street Wraith, whatever on turn 2, in order to either guarantee a Hollow One by using Faithless Looting instead of Burning Inquiry, or, you know, what have you, because then you just get the counters on Mako and it makes it a 4/4 or whatever anyway. Obviously discarding Phoenix is great. You can then just cast it from the graveyard. I did play 2 Goblin Lore. Dauthi Voidwalker was amazing all day. I managed, so you can Burning Inquiry the opponent with Dauthi. When if you have Dauthi Voidwalker out, they discard the cards into exile and you get to do any of that good stuff. The best one over this tournament was killing the opponent with their own Underworld Breach. So attacking with quite a few creatures, Dauthi Voidwalker stays back, and then cast their Underworld Breach. I have Lightning Bolt in the graveyard and I'm able to just escape it as many times as I want to deal lethal damage to the opponent, which was, yeah, something I hadn't done before. Bowmasters with Burning Inquiry is quite a popular one, so you can end of turn flashing Bowmasters, untap. Burning Inquiry forces them to draw 3 cards, so Bowmasters shoots them for 3 and you make a massive orc. Something else as well. Oh, Street Wraith and Mako. So I did have, I think just once, maybe twice, where an opponent attacked a 1/2, like a Guide of Souls or something into Mako, being a 1/1 when I was tapped out, and I could block Psycho Street Wraith. It gets the counter, so you block with a 2/2, and it's some sort of free. You see that a lot with Grixis Shadow. So I mean, I'm showing my age a bit there, but yeah, using Street Wraith as a combat trick is something that has been done quite a lot. So the tournament here in Europe seemed quite a lot more diverse, I'd say, than America. Certainly Breach, there was 25% in America, I think, whereas in Europe it was 12% of the meta. Don't know why that, you know, I haven't really, you know, there's no way to know for sure why that was. Part of it might be people less willing to pick it up with a lot less time until the next banned and restricted, where it's kind of expected that Breach is going to go. But yeah, I played against Breach, I think 4 times over the course of the tournament. Did go positive against it. Dauthi Voidwalker was really good, just in the main, just shutting off some stuff. We're just super aggressive, we're able to pressure them. Notably, Burning Inquiry is a weird one into Tamiyo, because it does force their Tamiyo to flip. So if you do it in your turn when they've got a Tamiyo to block, it flips their Tamiyo, and then you can either just attack the Tamiyo down or just use it to remove a blocker. Yeah, Voidwalker was also great in that matchup. And then the sideboard, we've got Meltdowns and Damping Spheres and Leyline of the Voids. Just, yeah, really felt quite good. So yeah, did well into that matchup. I think I played Energy a couple of times. That was yeah, that was a good matchup. Notably, I will say the reason we run Rough Tumble, it should be this because it's 8 mana to escape a Phoenix, so you can escape it for just Rough and Tumble. And also the 2 damage on Rough does not deal to creatures without to flying creatures, so our Phoenix can live through it. So yeah, a couple of reasons for that, but as I said, I just couldn't get them in time. So yeah, energy was fine. What else did I play? Belcher felt really good. We're just a turn quicker than them. Matchups that I beat Black White, which isn't a great matchup, but this is where I had an interaction that didn't, it helps playing a deck that people aren't as familiar with. So I mean, I had Dauthi Voidwalker out on my Black White opponent, put a Overlord into play for not Bestow, the other one, Impend, and all 4 cards, tried to take a Solitude, and I said, oh no, they're under Voidwalker, because Overlord is worded such that you take a card from the graveyard. There weren't any, so I just had them all under Voidwalker for that one. And then, I mean, they went, I think they could remove the Voidwalker, so it was just, yeah, a bit of value in people not necessarily knowing as well what you're trying to do. It'll probably be the meta of Hollow One was, I think, 3 or 4%. So people will probably start looking at it a little bit more. So yeah, energy was fine. We have the Wraths. Our creatures very quickly outsize theirs. Something like the Guide of Souls and things in early turns look a bit silly compared to a 4/4 on turns 1 and 2. I did have a couple of times when I Burning Inquiry'd away on turn 1 and just put 2 Hollow Ones into play. Oh, that's not good. Can we sort by mana value? Yep. So yeah, a couple of times where I managed to Hollow 2 on turn 1, which is always obviously very good. So what else did we play against? Played against Zoo, managed to win there. I think the opponent kept quite bad hands against us, and Burning Inquiry sort of took away their Leyline binding at an opportune time. Did have a couple of losses. Had 6 of them in total. Didn't play the Mirror. Did take a loss to Energy. Took 1 loss to Breach as well. Beat Black White for the most part. Lost to Goryo's. That matchup felt pretty horrendous. I don't think you can win game 1 because they put an Atraxa into play and you just can't do anything about it. I mean, Dauthi can be good, but it's often a little slow, especially if you're on the draw. And then games 2 or 3, I managed to win game 2, actually just through sort of Dauthi Voidwalker keeping them off, discarding their big hitters, and then kind of getting through with damage with Voidwalker and Phoenix and things. And then game 3 I had a Leyline of the Void out. They weren't able to do anything, but you do always have to be careful of Psychic Frog. I kind of Thoughtseize the Psychic Frog away, and I was feeling good. And I think we ended up on each with very low resources. I think I had like a Burning Inquiry or something in hand, and maybe just a Phoenix or something on the board. And the opponent just goes top decks Frog, and then I just can't get the damage in. The frog into Frog just draws loads of cards and just ends up beating me. So yeah, there's not, this list does, some lists do play push, but I think I do like Bolt. Goryo's isn't very popular at the moment. You can beat a Frog with Bolt potentially, but in a lot of matchups you much prefer Bolt. You play against Eldrazi or whatever, and you really want this instead of push, just to push the damage. Speaking of Eldrazi, I did play Eldrazi twice. Went 1 win, 1 loss. The loss was to actually a blue-green variant, which was pretty sweet. It was a lot of sort of battle mages and then null drifters, and then it was playing the new stock up, leaning on the Eldrazi sweeper, All Is Dust, rather than the red of Kozilek's Return. So I did lose that one, but then I beat a normal sort of Eldrazi, Dauthi Voidwalker really helping in that matchup to eat their graveyard and cast, I think I did cast a big something from from them. So I think I cast Khan to shut off all their artifacts. Yeah, and I just won the game. So yeah, that one was pretty good. Did against one of the Eldrazi, the blue green one made a pretty big error, which was I was just winning kind of on board. I had maybe a couple of Nethergoyfs and a Phoenix. I chose to deploy another Voidwalker that, you know, we both didn't have very much, and then I just got all his dusted. So I think I just overcommitted a little bit. I should have just held the Voidwalker so they go all his dust, and then I can play a Voidwalker and keep the pressure on. So yeah, I think that's most of the matchups. The tournament was really well run. The rounds did go long. That every round was sort of going 20-25 minutes after time. So yeah, my some advice if you're going to go to some of these things, just you will have quite a lot of time sometimes, especially if you're playing like a faster deck. The days are long. It was 9 rounds, started at 9 o'clock. I think I can't remember what time we got out. It must have been 7 in the evening. So long days to do, sort of prepare with food and things. So yeah, that was my little ramble. I think the deck's really, really good. I did see a player manage to make top 8 with Hollow One, but they were running like a more aggressive Vengevine style list, so I do want to try that out. The other big news, especially for people such as myself in the UK, is they announced the next Spotlight tournament will be here in the UK. It will be in Liverpool in October, late October this year. Format to be announced, but obviously that's a really good one. Gonna be trying to go to that. Very excited. Didn't think we'd get too many in here in the UK after I think a lot of organisers and vendors and things struggle post Brexit. But yeah, really, really glad to have that. So when we find out what the format will be, we'll be testing hard for that one. So yeah, that's all I was really wanting to say. Happy with 9-6. I think, yeah, possibly could have eked out a few more wins. I think I played pretty poorly in the first match of the day. I think I was just sort of maybe tired, maybe won too many nice Belgian beers the day before. I did lose to Samwise combo as well. I think I got pretty unlucky with that one. I think, yeah, I kind of didn't play around my opponent having Boseiju for my Leyline of the Void. I forgot to think about, because they had Samwise in play and I played Burning Inquiry. They had 1 green mana, and in response they were able to Boseiju the Leyline, and then lo and behold the Burning Inquiry discarded them the Cauldron Familiar to go off. A lot of interesting lists actually coming out of the tournament. There's a Shadow list I want to try. There's a load of new style sort of Samwise combo. Someone did really well with Neo form. So yeah, a lot on my plate to try out. And yeah, Utrecht itself, just to finish on a sort of more touristy note, obviously a lot of these tournaments you don't end up seeing much of the city. You see the inside of a venue, a convention center. We did manage to go out somewhat just for some nice food, and there's a really nice, if you like Belgian beer, there's a big old converted church there that you can go and just, there's loads of different types of beer, and yeah, really good atmosphere, and the city centre itself is really, really nice. So yeah, I do recommend it if you're ever over that way. So yeah, that's what I had. All I had. I think just wanted to give a little bit of a tournament report in this podcast style video. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Do let me know what you think of these. I quite enjoy just rambling about the weekends and the decks I played. So if you do like these, do let me know in the comments below. We're going to be probably just jamming now for a little bit, taking just trying out a few things from the tournament, a few different lists, and yeah, then we'll see what happens. I think we're going into modern RCQ season, so might just going to keep up playing some modern, I think. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you again soon. Cheers.